Hi guys, my name's Geneva and I am a Kiwi Lane creative partner, and I'm going to record a series of videos that I hope you enjoy to show you tips and tricks on how to use your templates. At the end of each episode I will give you the opportunity to send a message or ask questions, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Today we're going to talk about the new Kiwi Lane a la carte ball game. Ball game is $6 in the shop, and it comes with 3 templates: the cleat, the bat, and the baseball cap. I feel like the cleat could be used for any sport, golf, football, baseball, softball, anything where you would use cleats. And I feel like that could also be turned into an ice skate by attaching a little bar across the bottom there. But I will try to do that at a later date and post pictures of that. So I pulled some templates out to play with and see what might work, what looks good. So just a refresher, all Kiwi Lane border sets come with a side A and a side B, and that allows you to put the two together to make one curvy cut and get both pieces. And I'll demonstrate that later in case you haven't seen that before. But you can also use them in many different ways. Sorry, that was my phone dinging. Just gonna play with them a minute here and see what I like, what I'm feeling. I like that you can layer side A and side B together on a lot of the template sets. I think I like that today. And my daughter played softball for a couple of years. This was all pre-digital, so I have no idea at the moment where those photos are, but that's what I plan to put on here. And the team pictures were always a larger size, so I think that's what I'm looking to do here. And let's see, I think I want to put the hat on top of the bat, maybe overlapping a little bit there. Yeah, I like that. And then the cleat can go now, because I want to put a banner down, or a bracket down there. Well, I trimmed my fingernails, now I can't do anything. Okay, so I think I like that. And what I do a lot of times when I have a design laid out the way I want it, I'll use my cell phone and take a picture of what I see so that if I move something, I can get it back. There we go. So I got the picture. And now to figure out the paper. I'm going to move this to the side. And again, I'm using some leftovers from a previous Kiwi kit. And then I added in a background sheet from my paper stash. So let's see. So here's what I was saying about being able to put side A and side B together to make one rectangle. We'll make a little tick mark there, pull this away, trace one curvy line. Paper trimmer, and I'm just going to cut my straight edge there where I made that little tick mark. And then I can cut with my scissors the one curvy line. Your cuts do not have to be perfect. I try to stay fairly close to the line, but to move on at a fairly good pace. I don't have to worry about erasing the line because I'm going to ink it, and ink covers a multitude of sins. I just missed the line pretty good there, but that's okay because my ink is going to cover that as well. And by using two-sided paper, I've now made one cut, and I have both layers with one cut. Only thing to consider is if you're using directional paper with a pattern that has to go a certain direction, just make sure you have your paper turned the right way for that. I cut that one little piece off there because it was pointy, and where it does not have to be perfect, I do try not to have any points sticking out. That's just my personal preference. A quick ink, and I'm using Tim Holtz, upside down, Tim Holtz Vintage Photo. That's what I always use on my layouts. It works with pretty much any paper I've come across. I haven't found anything that I thought it didn't look good on. I've seen people use all colors of the rainbow. My daughter uses all black. That's what she prefers. But I'll bent my paper a little bit. Most of that will be hid, so it won't even matter. That's another thing with layering your paper. If there's little imperfections, it's hid. It doesn't matter anymore. It's a non-issue. So then once I cut it, I put it back on the layout and then move on to the next piece. Let's see, I'm hoping this fits. Okay, so another very nice thing about the templates is I have this sentiment, and I want to use it on this bracket. I can see through the template to get it centered and even before I do anything. I don't have to guess, and I can see straight through, and I know that I've got it where I want it. If you have a hard time holding your templates down, and most of the time I don't have too much trouble with that, but every now and then I will. You can always use a little piece of washi tape to hold your template in place while you cut it. That way it won't move. So just a quick trim. And turning your paper with your non-dominant, with your non-cutting hand helps to get a smoother cut. Alright, trash out of the way. And now ink this. And I don't have to ink this edge because I'm putting it up under the photo mat. so it won't matter. So it's going to sit in here like that. Let's see. Now, in the interest of saving paper, I always kind of play with it a little bit and see where it's going to be the least obtrusive. And I think that's going to be my best bet right there. I really like this pattern, and I would like to be able to use it on a few more projects, if at all possible. So I want to use as little, or waste as little as possible. Now, when your paper is dark, sometimes it can be really hard to see that pencil mark. So if it's too dark for you, you can always trace it on the back and then cut it from there. If I get the light just right, I can see it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this a little larger and detach it from my big sheet. I don't always do that, but when it's on dark paper like this, sometimes it's just easier. And I don't feel like I'm wasting something that I could use on another project. And even on the dark paper, I will still ink this. It still helps add dimension to the project. And if the paper has a white core, it also hides that white. Now this takes a little more time to cut because of all the little nubs for the cleats. And the paper's bending a little, but I don't think that's going to matter once I get done. Lost one of my cleats there. I can't, oh, there it is. Couldn't quite see it. So maybe I should have traced this on the back. But there, it's done. So, time to ink. Alright, now to get in these little cleats in between, I'm just going to pop it a little bit. It makes it easier to get down in those spots. I'm not really bending, I'm just kind of, popping it up. Alright, flatten my cleats. Now I could take a pen and draw laces on there, or I could add some lace. I will probably attempt to draw some on and see how that goes. So then again, I just replace it on the background sheet. And I think this will make a nice bat. So sorry. Let me trace this. That was my phone ringing. It never rings, but of course I didn't silence it, so it rang. So now I'm just going to cut this one out. Okay, so get this bat cut out and inked. I like this paper for the bat because it's not a wood grain, but the coloring kind of mimics a wood grain, at least in my mind. So get it inked. Now again, I got a little corner. There we go. I saw someone make a card, another creative partner, and she took the bats and cut, I don't know, 8 or 10 bats and laid them out in a fan pattern and put a brad through it. It was so cute because she said she didn't have any sports pictures to scrap, so she wanted to be able to use the bat in a different way. And that's a great thing about the Kiwi Lane templates, is if you don't have a intended purpose, for lack of a better word, to use it for, then you can always interpret your own use. And I'm thinking I like this coral for the bat. I think, let me see what's on the back of this. I mean for the hat, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think so. I think I like this for the hat. I'm thinking, is it better to have that one or this one for the photo mats? They'll both work. Well, I think I'm changing my mind. I think I want the coral for the photo mats, and I'll do the blue, green, turquoisey color for the hat. You know what? I can't see that. We're going to do it on the back side. And when you're doing it on the back, then you have to turn your template as well. So when you flip it over, it will be facing the correct direction that you intended. Not that it couldn't go the other direction. It absolutely could. If I had not thought to flip it, it would have worked. And again, I think I'm going to kind of detach. So that it's a little bit easier to cut. This hat could be turned into a jockey hat. It could just be a regular, everyday cap. You could cut the bill off and turn it into a beanie. Many, many, many options. My button is not as defined as I would like. There we go. That's better. And now I'm going to ink it. So you trace, cut, ink, replace after you have played around and created. And then it's a fairly quick process. Oh, I inked the wrong side of my cap because I forgot I was turning it over. I'm going to ink it one more time. Alright, so then it's going to go like that on the back. Alright, time for those photos. And the way I do my photo mats, sorry, is I take my pencil and I just put a little mark at each corner, on each side of each corner. And then I lay the next one right up next to it and do the same thing. That way, when I get ready to cut them on my paper trimmer, I just line up the tick marks and cut. Now you do have to remember your orientation if you're laying out multiple photos at one time, because if you turn it the wrong way, then I have ended up cutting the wrong direction with my tick marks and ended up with photo mats that did not fit the photos. So you do have to kind of keep it straight in your mind for which way you need to turn. Okay, so now with this piece that I have left over, I'm just going to move this out of the way for a second. The floor holds my paper trimmer most of the time. And then I just make little tick marks. And lay this one up there too. Little tick marks. And back to the paper trimmer. And one last cut. There we go. That has all my parts and pieces cut out. Get all my templates over here. I just store my templates inside one of these trays until I'm done, and then I can put them back in my organizer. Alright. Now, I forgot to ink my photo mat. So just real quick. And how far up you turn your dauber as you're inking determines how much ink is on the top. So if I go straight up and down the side, then very little gets on the top. If I turn it over the edge of the paper like this, more upright, then I get more ink on the top surface. You can order daubers and ink from the Kiwi Lane website. As well as all the templates, and there's still some paper left. Now, other than the monthly clubs, as of right now, they're not designing more paper to release because of the shipping cost on 12 by 12 paper is very expensive, and the company can't pad the cost of the paper enough to cover that. They don't want to increase the cost to the customer. It would be an excessive amount. Alright. This one pencil mark is a little out there. I don't know, must have jiggled, so I will erase it. I don't typically erase my pencil marks, but that one was excessive. And then one last piece. I'll be ready to adhere everything down. And then as soon as I can find my photos, I know exactly what it is that I want to put on here. I'll have to add those in. Okay, so I'm going to some tape runner. Now remember, you're overlapping them, so you don't want ink or adhesive, I'm sorry, way out here on the end of your piece because you don't want it to stick over into your background page. My dauber was shedding a little bit. It's time to replace it and get a fresh dauber. It's been a little overused. Now I will give my dauber a haircut if it gets scraggly on the ends. I don't feel the need to replace it for that. As long as I can trim off the edges, I'm good with it, and we'll keep using it. Let's see. Tape. typically do not put my photo mats or my photos straight up and down on the page. I usually cock them at an angle a little bit. One, if they're not perfectly straight, it doesn't show, so it's all good. I have a hard time getting things perfectly straight. That's not one of my talents. There we go. Move this. A little tape runner. There we go. The cleat gets a little tape and sits up here in the corner. I'm going to come back with a white pen and draw on some laces. Well, come on back. Tape. Little tape. And I had this kind of leaning between the two pictures, like you would lean a bat up against a wall. Was kind of my thought process there. And then my daughter always hung her hat on her bat to carry it. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Alright, so there we go. A completed layout in just a few minutes. And this is the new baseball a la carte from Kiwi Lane. I hope you enjoyed. Got some ideas. Thank you. Thanks for watching. If you ever have any questions or need anything, you can always find me on Facebook. The QR codes will take you to a current catalog or the Kiwi Lane community, which is similar to a Facebook group, but all about Kiwi Lane and crafting. Have a good day. Thanks.